The Whiskey Brothers.
Welcome to the Whiskey Brothers podcast, the Dyslexic Crocodile. 1036, Slade Jerry, your host and co-host. Sam Damaris not with us. Our second July episode, so we're burning into the month. We're on a reduced schedule. We're down to 2 a month now. Reduced cast, but all sorts of other things going on. Mark Hurtado, our guest for the second episode of the month.
Slashing prices.
Yes, we are. We're talking off air along with our other guest, Abbey Vollman. Welcome to the show. We're drinking. We're going to talk about what we're drinking in a second. We'll talk about it now. You have Abbey hosts a show on Tuesday nights now in Houston, Texas, at the Secret Group.
Yes, TNA Tuesdays at the Secret Group every Tuesday at 10 p.m. hosted by me and Tess Vergold. We are partnering with
the TNA. I see
TNA. See, get your mind out of the gutter. You know.
I got it.
It's a great name because we always would joke that like she has the tits, I have the ass, and like together we make one hot woman. So.
And also one hideous one. No, okay.
No, one hot woman with absolutely hideous opinions, according to our male colleagues. But no, we are partnering with Enchanted Rock Vodka and Texas Ranger Whiskey, favorites of the Whiskey Brothers.
See, we are big fans, and the Texas, because we've been drinking the peanut butter and the peach and all that stuff. But Enchanted Rock, you brought a blueberry vodka into the studio, and I'm very much taking that first.
So Slade is taking blueberry, and I'm taking pink lemonade because I already know I like it.
And then a scatter shot of other whiskeys as we work our way through July.
Cheers.
It's hot as shit outside. We're going to be talking about that later.
Cheers,
We're going to be talking about a lot of things, but I'm going to jump right in and ask off air. You're talking, Jerry. You're talking about this whole world that's opening up to you as you venture into the TikTok successful realm, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But you were thinking about doing voiceover work, and you putting yourself out there in a couple of places, and then I realized, I was like, wait a second, what is like my other plan if stand-up if stand-up and podcasting doesn't work? I just assume I'm going to be homeless. Like
my true backup is preaching.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, man. That's good money in it.
You got to.
No way.
Is it really?
Is that why everybody gets into preaching? Be honest.
How much do you get to keep?
A lot.
Like, what's the
depending on
cut?
what kind of preacher you are? Most of it.
Does the preacher do the budget also?
Yeah.
No,
in a small church. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm just talking about like a little strip center thing. Something bring me in about 6-7
Okay, well,
grand a
hang
month.
on. Now, what if we all went out and got a church in a similar vicinity, and then we just hold down like a quadrant of the city with our churches?
Could be done. Got to stay away from Olstein's money, but.
Well,
Yeah, we gotta stay alive.
I'm not afraid of a turf war with Olstein.
I am. I'm terrified.
Watch out.
I'm broke.
That's that big government church money.
Yeah. I ain't trying to screw
I'm
with
not
that.
trying to rob
But
him.
It's
I know-
non-taxable income.
It's not surprising. I just didn't realize that like preachers and like pastors did their own accounting and like their own.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
I think on a small level.
Well, it's you leave it up to faith.
Yeah.
What like sector of Christianity?
I'd probably just go like some borderline non-denomination. My hypocrisy does have some limits,
Yeah.
so
Right, but
could
your
be
root-
too
your-
specific. But my roots are in Pentecostalism,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
I think I could do evangelistic,
Something
type
like that.
stuff, you know?
You
Put
bring
the fear of God in people.
Yeah.
bringing snakes back?
Yeah, man, a little fire and brimstone,
That's,
touchy feel good bullshit for the modern generation.
Just some singing
Trained
and
a little
dancing.
in evangelical, but most of my up and comings was in Pentecostal.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
more
Yeah.
bands, it's
You know what I
not-
mean?
not-
That's-
not
Yeah.
as much
we're
ground
gonna
game.
bring back scary First Testament God. You know what I mean? Because that's how you get the money in the door.
That's what I'm saying. So like we started out Catholic and then we switched to Lutheran. And like based on the teachings, I was like, either way, I'm going to hell,
You guys-
right? Like this
There's
is
no
not.
money in
Switch to the
Lutheran.
internet.
You guys coming in here with these mixed spiritual arts skills, and I'm just like a fundamental Church of Christ kid
There's a
originally.
lot
I
of
just
money to be
stopped
made
going.
in evangelistic non-denomination churches in Texas.
That's we have
Yeah.
we now I have a new backup plan. I didn't have
We're
one at
all
all.
going to be
And if
preachers.
that doesn't work out, cult leaders next. You know
Cult-
what I mean?
it's-
Because there's good
it's-
money in cult
you have the
leading.
beard for it.
Yeah, definitely.
That-
I'm gonna have to work on it.
I
I need
even
like
have
a
the
couple
sordid
weeks.
background.
Okay, so hang on. You have cult leader you have cult leader beard for sure.
For sure.
What would you have to do to? What are you lacking? What
I would have
keeps
to stop getting like my shit waxed. Like I wax like my lip and my eyebrows. I would
Oh.
just let it grow out,
So sinful.
and then I would be like
and then
A
people
cult
would
leader.
You're
follow.
gonna need to
What,
build up a small stockpile of ammunition and weaponry.
what would your
Also
cult be?
that.
What would your cult platform be? So your girl with a
Ooh.
mustache,
A girl with a mustache.
and now you've got all these followers. What are they following? you
Oh, I
for?
would totally tap into like that whole like LA market of like heal your trauma. Like we're gonna grow out our unibrow and like
That's
do
a lot
like,
of crystals. They're not cheap though.
It's not, which is why I would make a ton of fucking money. Like that's what I would tap
Yeah.
into. I would take advantage of all of like the people that approached me when I lived in LA. Like, hey, girly, we can tell you're going through something. I would be like, I'm 19. Like, I'm obviously going through something.
Everything is something.
Like, I don't. Yeah.
These problems matter.
Do you have
Everything matters.
Do you have
right?
an alternative?
For which part?
Your job. What would you do if you were if this didn't if acting and comedy and entertainment was
Right,
just
yeah.
gone?
Where
Where would you go now?
I don't know. I like those guys who just do Legos for a living. I
Ah,
feel like that's a good vibe because you don't even have to be good. I've seen the things they build. I'm like, I could do that.
you got to be no,
Yeah.
but you got to have a thing now. It used to be there was a brief period of time where all you had to do was be a Lego builder, and now if you're not missing an arm or you're not putting the bricks
Yeah.
together with your mouth
If you're
or
not
something,
autistic,
Would you
you're
start
not
like a
you're not
sick.
in on
YouTube
the
channel,
ground
or
floor of
like-
this.
Yeah.
Where would you build Legos?
I would
Well,
start,
one,
I'd start
Lego
on
Builder,
Twitch.
the TV show, and if you haven't
There
watched
is a
it,
TV show.
Is it, like
It
competitive
runs in
Lego
urgent
builders?
cares.
yeah, it also
Oh,
runs
man,
in
that's
stone
such a good
people's
idea.
living rooms.
It also runs in Slade Ham's living room.
The
I would like to do like more of like we take old Lego buildings and renovate them and flip them.
oh,
You're gonna be the Lego flipper.
yeah.
You're gonna go like the Vanilla Ice route.
Yeah. It's like,
Remember me, stand-up comic Mark Hurtado? Look what I'm doing now. Now I'm making real
This
bucks.
Lego Death Star can have a way more open kitchen.
Oh, that's hilarious. You're
I
judging
love
the floor
that.
plans of the Barbie house. It's like, who would put a pool here? Well, they would, and here's why. And for only
First things first, we're blocking off that exhaust vent.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. It's hard to get those clear blocks. That's what you need for the pool.
It's very true.
And I'm more of a fan of the
How'd that
smooth
go down?
Legos, the ones that don't.
How was
just
the
have,
blueberry? I
Like,
haven't
the
tried
slick
it,
top.
actually.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are my favorite pieces.
I do
Your
have to
finished
pause and
pieces.
acknowledge how good that blueberry is.
Really?
It's a
You hate fruit?
Is
Yeah,
that all
but-
you brought?
one blueberry. She didn't bring it. I
can
had some.
smell it when you breathed out.
Yeah.
just now. That was
Bro, it's
intense.
a lot of blueberry.
I
So
got hit in the face with a Jolly Rancher
Yeah,
just now.
it's like if
I
Willy,
thought he was about
you
to say
smell like if
something
Willy Wonka
negative.
had a bar.
that's exactly.
Yeah.
Hey kids, you're gonna love this next drink.
But don't drink it.
So blueberries in general are one of the fruits I do like. They're
okay.
they're
You
just.
don't
team-
like
I'm
fruit
team
in
blueberry.
general?
I don't know.
That's
How many
upsetting.
fruits are there?
A lot.
Like if you had to guess,
They
like,
get weird.
Maybe at least 16.
Okay, call it 16 good fruits.
Yeah.
Right. I probably like a third of them. Maybe I'll fuck with strawberries, grapes, oranges.
What kind of grapes though?
There's
all,
like
green,
all
red,
kind of, do I get all
kinds.
kind of grapes?
Yes.
Do they all count?
No, that counts.
I get all the grapes, including those cotton candy grapes.
Oh, yeah,
and the
they're
purple
fucking
grapes
amazing.
And the
Oh,
green
now you get
grapes.
into these crazy new
What about
grapes.
watermelon?
All the grapes. Watermelon tastes like I'm eating weird, like it's the paper texture to
Every
it.
living
Bananas?
creature loves watermelon. Like it's literally the only thing that's safe for everybody to eat.
No,
Tastes
I
like-
have an allergic reaction to it now.
Are
This
you
is some
fucking
shit
kidding?
that
I'm s-
happened to me. For whatever reason, I'm allergic to cucumbers and
Good.
watermelon.
Good. Well,
You're
not
allergic
because
to
they-
water. That's
They-
what that is.
Yeah, I don't. It's the
There's
weirdest.
nothing in
Like
there.
I love
Can you eat
watermelon
celery?
my whole life, and I'll eat a piece of no. And I
You
eat
can't
a piece.
eat celery?
No, man.
What-
Jerry.
Jerry, that's in your
It's
head.
water.
No, my throat starts closing.
Well, yeah, it's because they're terrible.
I
But
feel
not-
like that's worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like-
love watermelon.
like,
Last
yeah.
time I ate watermelon with my kids, I was like, "Oh man, it's dad's
Nobody's
favorite." And I cut it
allergic
up
to
and
celery and watermelon cucumber. There's
Oh
nothing
my-
in them.
Because those
Yeah,
are
man.
90% water.
There are
Well,
very
fuck, we're
specific
70% water, so let's-
antigens that
Well,
are
that's
in
what I'm
all
saying.
three, and they're like the same antigen that's in ragweed.
Oh, you're allergic to ragweed.
Have you ever looked at the like how vegetables came into play and how lettuce came
Yeah,
into play?
usually
Like,
on Thursdays.
Most of it came from like a mustard plant or whatever,
Right.
a wild mustard plant, and then it was evolved and grown to
Right.
do different
Totally.
things. So some of these plants all have this one relative antigen in them, and it can happen to you in your adult age. Like I never had a problem
You
with
have
it when I was
adult
a kid.
onset
That's never happened
allergies.
to me.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's crazy,
man.
I'm
If
also
you-
severely allergic to ragweed.
I had
Jerry's
some
Venmo
cucumber-
is please if you can donate.
Dear God.
I had
Yeah,
cucumber
Please help
water
Jerry.
after a gig one
He-
night and almost killed me. It was the craziest shit. I was drinking this. I didn't know it was cucumber water, right? It was like a wine
That
bar
by
type
itself is
thing.
a crime.
And
Who doesn't tell somebody this is cucumber water? If you hand me,
I just thought it was shitty Friendswood water. Okay, we were in Friendswood, and I was like, the water tastes like
Of course,
shit here.
Friendswood would try and
And
kill
so I
you,
was,
too.
I was like drinking
course.
this water, and everybody else was going on stage. I was the last comic, and I remember Zod went on stage right before me, and it was a packed house, and I'm just feeling worse and worse. And what do you do when you feel worse? You drink more water. And I was like, oh, this I must be the heat or something. You know, I'm fat. Maybe I'm getting heat stroke. I just kept drinking water. I literally took a glass of it on stage with me, and like. Throughout the set, I'm just like feeling more and more flush and like, what is happening? And you would like exit the stage to the right and go around the crowd and everything. In fact, one of my closing bits involved me like jumping around and stuff, and I just canceled it in my head. I was like, if I do that, I'm throwing up on somebody, you know? And so I finished the show out, great show, but I literally just jumped off the stage and ran straight through the crowd and like, got to the back edge of the crowd and put my hand on a tree and puked for like 10 minutes straight.
Oh, my
just
God.
everything I'd eaten in the past week, you know. Just like, and it got in the truck and then had to pull over on the side of 45 and do it some more and got home and was like in bed like 2 days, like fucked up Chuck.
You threw
Jesus
up everything you ate for the
Christ.
past week, and the watermelon was the best tasting part. That was like well.
Yeah, the watermelon didn't do that to me, but it did like make my throat close up and shit. My eyes got all red. I was like, all right.
Mark's
well,
very
fuck,
pro
this is
watermelon.
Going on hikes does that to me. Like I have an EpiPen for when I want to be outdoorsy because I'm allergic to grass, ragweed, and mold.
Oh.
I can't drink kombucha for that reason. Actually, my throat
Really?
will close. And
What is kombucha?
kombucha is like fermented fruit. It's like fruit that maybe could become wine, but it's naturally produced alcohol. You don't like add anything to it.
It's
I
like good
believe.
for your gut bacterium, and it's one of those things where it's so healthy. You're
It's
like,
mold.
It's okay
like
that it doesn't
probiotics.
taste good.
It's like
I always
It's
heard it
like
was like
yeah,
cute
it
and,
doesn't
like, good
taste
for
good,
you,
but you're like, this
but
is
it's
like
bad.
alcohol for adults.
it
Like,
is.
yeah.
Well, like people
Does it
who
get
are
you fucked
sober,
up?
there's a debate.
No, but
like,
it
if you're
just it doesn't
sober-
taste good. But you're like, it's like healthy for you.
But it
Okay.
doesn't give you a buzz. It's alcohol.
Nah,
that
well,
doesn't give
there-
you a buzz.
It
Yeah.
might give you a buzz.
It's like
though.
it is fermented, like or it had alcohol. at
It
one
has
point.
like a natural
This is one of
occurring
those-
alcohol.
One of those trendy things that like juice bars started selling.
Yeah,
But
like
it
I
really works?
don't think I had kombucha until I was a vegan.
Oh, I'm about
Which,
that.
like,
booty.
was
Okay, I
years
know. I just
ago.
need to know which side of the line it
I
landed.
never
on.
tried it. I had a
But
week
like
ago.
I
haven't
never got
tried
into
kombucha?
it because it made my throat itchy, and then I went to the allergist, and he was like, "Don't ever drink kombucha because you will die." And I was like, "Do you know what you're saying? I'm a white lady right now.
Right.
Like, kombucha is."
Thank God you
That's
had
Such
a
a
I've
doctor.
been
white lady
a white
thing.
lady in the late 2000s.
I was like, "God damn it!"
Time to write my will.
Thank God you had somebody there to tell you that.
No,
Like,
seriously. 'cause,
if you
like,
were just
I,
let loose in rural, like regular Houston,
I really
just
tried
as
to
a-
give it a chance. I was
Thank
like, I
God
don't
you worked
really
at a
get it.
wine
Like,
bar in
all my
Friendswood.
like LA peers, like they all love it. Like it's not for me. I don't get it. That's why.
I don't
'Cause
even
it
like it and I
will
drink
kill
it.
me.
Fermented
It's not good.
weird
I just do it
juice.
for the, I do it
Does
for the
it taste,
culture.
better or worse than a wheatgrass shot? Because I have tried
Better.
that.
Well, I mean,
Probably better than
if someone
wheatgrass.
if someone likes it less, that's fine because it's a tough sell. Kombucha is a tough sell. Even like good kombucha is it's like
Yeah, I
it's
like
kind
things
of
that
like
taste
weird
bad. I
and
love
bitter.
whiskey.
They
and-
have some at Sprouts
yeah.
that's like soda flavored.
Oh God,
and that's what I
damn.
would try. And
Soda.
drink. It's
There's
like
no
fucking-
flavor to soda.
It
What's
doesn't
what I
the
mean. It's-
necessarily have a good taste. Like I like whiskey, pussy, black coffee.
big three, huh? Yeah.
You
yeah.
know what I mean? I
That's
like
a
things
great
that don't
list,
taste
actually.
great.
Yeah, all my tattoos. Yeah.
Hear the name of my memoir.
Whiskey, pussy, black coffee, a story by Jerry Wayne.
But none of them, it's none of them like you would set out if you were looking for a flavored waffle.
That wouldn't
None
be
of
the
those would be
lollipop
ones
you picked,
pick.
right? I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
you. I
yeah.
got you. I don't-
I really don't know what the health benefits are for it either. Like,
It's I could
don't-
do anything in a shot. Like that's the if you it's I could anything in a shot glass I can get past my throat. It's once it goes past the tongue, I'm all right. All right, look, you
It sounded like your Tinder profile.
That would actually
weirdly
be
where I
a
pulled that from. Are
great
you watching
Tinder
me read
bio.
This is
Anything past the tongue, I can
Once
handle
it
it.
gets
Like, oh,
past
she
the
I know
sounds
some
like-
tongue.
fellas in
sounds like a lot of
Montrose
fun.
that would test that theory, my friend.
I'd be like, this guy is like on a mission. He's here to have fun.
That's a.
Yeah.
Swipe
I'm gonna have
right.
Abby
Outgoing.
rewrite my Tinder bio.
I'm banned from Tinder, so I actually have no idea. How
What
to
did you
get
do?
banned from Tinder?
I have no idea. To be
Okay.
honest, I think
Someone reported you.
I probably stood somebody up and they reported me. Same thing happened on Bumble.
You can report people.
Yes, and you can't re-download the app, which is the shittiest part.
There's like so many more apps.
I know. I'm stuck on Hinge and I hate it.
Oh,
I never
the
open it.
seedy underbelly of dating
I fucking
apps.
hate it. It's so gross.
All right, so I want to shift gears just a little bit. Mark, you were talking about you're talking about how much you like watermelon, and that's one of the few things I'd argue on because I'm an anti-watermelonist. But
Wow.
not anti,
sad.
but I'm not. I'm just not.
Should have
pro.
told me that before.
If you
I
ca- if
came,
you-
yeah.
If you
Mark,
hand
I
me
love watermelon. I just can't have it.
if you hand me watermelon,
I love watermelon.
I'm the
Let's
watermelon
have some
apologist.
right now.
last night at so Adam runs a filmmaker's steak night
I get it. You're friends with one
at a
Yeah.
bar
That's
with
fine.
a watermelon. Yeah, it's,
I used to date one. For
It's
a
I
little
used to
bit.
no, but I did punch a hole in one and microwave it. So
What?
no, that's
Bruh.
Nobody's dated that kind of watermelon.
I'm trying to think what the analogy is.
I was on board
Seems
and
like
then I
a
got
big hole,
lost.
bro.
so.
Call me an old-fashioned conservative watermelon eater, but me and my microwaves and my watermelon, I like to keep them apart. You know,
Is misogynistic.
Keep it in the fridge,
It's
dude.
Adam hosts a filmmaker's steak night, and last night I was handed a bowl of watermelon slices covered in what was that? Like a tamarind? What was on them?
Tahine?
Do you know?
Tahine.
okay, yeah.
Ma- a whole
Ooh.
mixture of
That's
stuff.
fucking
It's like a
amazing.
watermelon salad, and I, who do not like watermelon, ate a bowl full of watermelon.
Oh,
It's-
you gave him the Texas caviar?
yes.
Oh my God! I can't believe you
Ooh.
thought he would eat that. That's
But I
funny.
did. But
Was
I
it
did.
only watermelon?
There's so many
In the Texas
vegetables in that.
caviar?
It's like-
But again, it's the ones that so there's like when you get over to the vegetable side of stuff, it's not really vegetables, but like corn and beans and
Yeah.
avocado and so.
It's delicious.
Though I'll fuck with that. It's
You do
the,
avocado?
It's
I
the
don't do
crunchy.
avocado.
It's the crunchy vegetables I don't like.
I'm just
It's the crunchy vegetables I don't. I don't
I hate
It's a lot for me.
Floyd
So hang on.
Okay, it's
So
fine.
I'm saying all that
Continue
to
your
say,
point.
I
I'm
want to
learning
draw.
so much about you today, Jared.
I want to
Tastes
draw
like
the
wet grass to
line.
me.
Don't
of
meet your heroes.
The
you know?
line
Like,
between me and Mark, and just the demarcation between me and Mark. The line of putting the mark and demarcation. The difference between us. Yet we have settled on what may be the greatest film I've ever seen in my entire life.
the great segue.
Mark, Mark, I'm good at this. So I was our mutual friend Chase DeRusso and I were having we talked all through the pandemic. We reference things to each other. All that we're nerds. Anything that comes. Here's this trailer you might not have seen. This and that. And then Chase reaches out and he goes, "Dude, you got to watch this movie called RRR." And I go, "No, it wasn't Chase. You told me directly.
yeah,
I'm
I
trying to
texted
sell
you.
Chase right now.
Chase still
He still
hasn't
hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sell him. Why am I giving him credit for this?"
No.
You reached out to me directly and said, "You got to watch this." God damn, this came straight from the Mark's mouth.
I just knew you would be about that shit.
Had you known, we'll talk about the film in a second. Had you known what you now know about my watermelon and my vegetable feelings, would you have called me about RRR?
I would have deleted your number.
Would not have come to your podcast.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
so but you
I'll have to
did.
delete
and
my
you,
Twitter after this.
You
Starting to
thought,
feel
I'm
trapped.
canceled.
you thought about me and you sent me this, and Mark, there are very few things in this world that people unsolicitedly will hand you or give you or send to you that stay with you for the rest of your life. I can't think of a lot of things.
Chlamydia.
That,
So that
there's a handful of
eventually
things.
goes away.
It's the movie recommendation game is a very fickle game, right? There's a lot of trust
indeed.
there. It's like it's a very thin bridge. You
I
get
only
what you-
recommend one movie ever.
it.
Sling Blade.
Sling Blade.
Because
Best movie ever.
your voice. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't even 100% sure, but it was a good guess.
I didn't even know what movie it was going to be. I was like, let's.
see-
Okay.
Best
So
movie ever made.
so Mark
Sure.
makes this record, and you are correct. Deciding to accept or reject someone's overture when it comes to a movie recommendation, and we don't have a history of this.
It's
We
very-
mainly nerd out
very
over
sensitive thing.
obvious stuff you would like, Disney, Marvel stuff, and Star Wars, and the easy stuff to agree on, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't like it or you do like it, you agreed that you were going to watch it beforehand. This came so far out of right field. You had to crawl over the wall and go up past the Chick-fil-A foul pole.
This is past the field, past the Beltway, past the shopping center.
This is into the homeless camp under 59. We're so far out of the ballpark. Now, he goes, "You have to watch this movie RRR." and your gut go, well, this is a typo, or he's stuttering, or Mark's having a stroke, or how drunk are you? We don't talk that
To
often.
reiterate, the
It was
movie,
offensive.
for those listening, the movie is called RRR, and right off the bat, tough sell, right?
Right.
That-
Does
'cause
it
you're
stand
just like,
for something?
Yeah.
Well, which makes it worse.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It really it stands for
RRR.
Rage
Rated
Revolt.
R.
Rage Revolt.
Actually, fun. So Rage Revolt Repeat. I forgot what the third one
Oh,
was. Something
no.
like that. However, that was I don't. It stands for something else, but it's like Rage Revolt.
But then
that's
it
not
also
Repeat.
stands for the R in water, fire,
Yeah, but also
earth.
Fun fact about the movie: it was a working title because this movie, which is not a Bollywood movie, but for the people listening, just call it a Bollywood movie.
Let's call it a Bollywood movie.
Yeah.
If there are dance numbers, this
Yeah,
is
it's
this is the way
basically
I've been.
It's
two-
also a
two
musical.
Americans.
I've been describing this film. It's my
more than that.
favorite action
So much
film.
more.
More than a musical?
So much more.
My
than that.
favorite
sold.
action film and my favorite musical that came out in 2022.
down.
I'm sold.
Hands
So
down.
if you're going to put dance numbers and you're going to put colorful costumes and you're going to put music and you're going to put the guy does that Bollywood neck wiggle that
Yeah.
I can't do it. That where just the head moves but nothing
Yeah.
else. Where the it's just the I can't even. I'm not even sure what part moves. It's like if you watch the moonwalk in slow motion, you can't tell if the guy's leaning forward or moving back. But
Yeah.
when you watch it in fast mode, it's that.
I
But
don't
he-
know what
That's
emoji I
insane.
send to like to
at all.
convey that.
There needs to be a. It's that. I don't know how else to explain that thing he does with his head.
I know
bro.
exactly what you're talking about, which is the funniest part.
Oh,
Like it's just
he's the best that's ever done it. And these two, it's God, I don't want to ruin this movie for anyone because
Here's the thing: you can't because it's so too good.
yeah. Even if
you
I
watch
told
it,
you
you're just
everything that
gonna
happened,
be blown away.
even if the movie opens with a guy fighting 100,000 people.
A guy fights a crowd.
One
Eh,
guy.
One guy.
One
He
guy
fights. It's got to be 100. Maybe
This
it's
is
1,000.
definitely a Bollywood
There's
movie.
this part where he's basically choking the crowd. I
It's-
can't
it's,
explain
right.
it.
The whole
The
crowd.
whole
it's
crowd
weird
at
to
one
explain.
time.
He's like choking.
But it's just how
everyone's
how they introduce that character to you, right? It's not like he goes out and talks a wolf into chasing him until that gets chased by a tiger, and then he somehow beats them both. That's the other character. And then they simultaneously join together and swing across a bridge to save a child from an
Oh,
explosion.
well, one on a horse, one on a motorcycle.
Well, yeah, they weren't just regular-
While a train's exploding on a bridge.
All of
to
this in
save
the
a
first
kid.
20 minutes. This is exposition.
This is
isn't
before the
even-
movie starts.
this
Before
isn't
the
even
final
beginning
R
of the-
drops.
Before the final
It's like
R.
Matilda, but just like choking powers.
Literally before the credits roll, before you get to the what I would call a 2.5 hour.
It's 2.5 hours long.
No, it's 3
3
hours long.
hours,
That
first
first
of all.
half hour is spent setting stuff up. But when you watch it, you're yawning, but you haven't watched this
Dude,
movie.
think
It was
about
the
what
3 hours
It's
that got
like
me.
it's like
Made
watermelon.
me misty.
The
I
movie.
was like, I didn't see it.
It's like watermelon the movie. It's a guy.
Your throat will close, but it's fucking worth it.
so worth it. It's
Oh, I'll
it's
check it out. I'll give it a watch.
Jerry. There, I.
Where is it?
It's on Netflix.
It's now on Netflix. It
Okay.
came out this year. It's the highest grossing Bollywood movie. It's technically Tollywood.
What
It
is
doesn't
what is the
matter.
difference between Bollywood and Tollywood? I feel
So
like that doesn't
Bollywood
matter.
is we all know about it, right? And
Yeah.
we all just think
Well, hang on.
of-
So tell me what Bollywood is.
So it's regional. Then there's
But-
there's all sorts of other countries, and they have their own studios too.
But
And-
so Bollywood refers to specifically Indian.
yeah, I
But
don't
they're
want
kind of in collaboration, aren't they? Like
so, yo, there's
other
Tollywood,
places?
there's Mollywood, there's
Yeah.
Sandalwood. And
Yeah,
that's
I
not a
feel like
joke,
I would
it's
like
actually called
Mollywood.
That. Like, you're right. Yeah, me too.
I had a teacher who would like show us, like she was my world geography teacher. She did not teach us world geography, but she did show us like Mollywood, Tollywood, Bollywood, fucking movies.
If she showed you RRR, she'd be a really good teacher.
okay, well I
Like,
wasn't.
yeah.
It's
like,
also
so-
a masterpiece in filmmaking. Like it is
Cinematography.
really. It's beautifully shot. It's shot as well as anything any blockbuster you've
Yeah.
seen.
It-
Well,
it's
they
like
have, like,
Michael
giant
Bay
budgets.
meets
It's like
Zack
the
Snyder,
same.
but it's like actually good.
Lot of
like,
Zack
it's
Snyder.
as pretty and like visually spectacle, but it's also good too. You know, like for a big budget, fun
It's
action.
it's stunning. And these guys are think of like the cross disciplinarians in entertainment in America, right? Like the singer, dancer, actor,
Wow,
like
yeah.
cross disciplinarian. So
Sure.
who do we have? like Justin Timberlake, like who really falls in the realm of
The whole package.
actually does all the stuff? Because when you get down
Hugh
to
Jackman. I don't even think
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman is the
Jackman,
only.
And he's
Neil
Australian.
Patrick
So,
Stewart.
Neil Patrick Harris.
yeah, but
Neil
here's the
Patrick
thing: no
Harris.
one.
I feel like
fucks-
Neil Patrick Stewart would be a way cooler
But I
character.
could
That
watch
would be a
Neil
way
Patrick
cooler
Harris
name.
in an
Am I
action
confusing
flick.
a character of his with his
Yeah,
real
Patrick,
last name?
Patrick Stewart is the old English actor who played Captain Picard
Right.
and also Professor X, and
Yeah.
Neil Patrick Stewart though I would totally watch.
That's a great name.
So
That's
so
my new stage
Only
name.
if he's in a
actually.
wheelchair.
Hugh Jackman is very much who I would go with. Maybe Jared Leto. Like I don't. That's how few we
Think of
have.
people that
Well,
can
so
also like
ev-
dance though too.
No,
like-
and here's the thing:
kinda
and
triple
it's
threat.
dance. So no
Yeah,
one
'cause,
fucks with
like,
no
when
one
you're
fucks
talking
with Hugh
about Bollywood
Jackman's
movies-
dancing. Yeah, he can like dance,
legit-
but like that's
But
not
not
like
like
it's not
thi-
like
not like what
it's
these
not
guys
like
are doing.
you know Chris
It's on
Brown
another
level
level.
type
when
shit.
you watch this, there are moments where it looks like their legs are CGI'd, and like in a blur, where you go,
Yeah.
"This wasn't. Somebody didn't do this."
They
It's
did.
there's an entire dance. I don't want to blow the whole.
So what's so cool about it is, I understand to a cat like if people are like, oh, a musical, I don't want to see that. It's mostly an action movie.
It's not really a musical.
Yeah, it's barely, but there is a dance, and the thing is, it's so cool you don't mind. It's when we appreciate like a really good kung fu scene or something. What we're really saying is, I appreciate the work here. This looks and feels really good, and the moves they're doing are very impressive. And I could like see myself not being able to do that. You know what I mean?
Totally.
We love
Like
choreography.
stage combat is
Versus
considered
CGI, right?
choreography.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it is considered a dance
So
essentially.
The choreography on this is as impressive as like a really cool Jackie Chan fight scene where he kicks a teacup and
Flips
catches
through the
it and
ladder
stuff.
and the-
See,
Like-
that's a sell.
yeah.
That's a sell. Don't tell me it's called RRR. Tell me.
Right, but we have to start there because it only gets better.
Yes.
Uh,
It's there is one point. It's got to be to half the way into the movie. I don't remember where it's at exactly, but where they take the truck into the compound, and there is a
the
moment.
chariot or whatever.
Where they get into the where they unfurl the side of the truck and all of the things leap out.
So you're not spoiling, is what you're trying to do.
Well, I'm there. Fuck the spoiling. It just doesn't
a
even.
guy
ruin it.
throws a tiger at a person.
Yeah,
and
but he also leaps out of a vehicle and he's got two torches in his hands.
fire.
And
The tiger has
deer
torches?
and
It's him
tiger
and tigers
bear.
and jaguars,
And they all
fire.
leap out at the same time as the truck skids to the side, and then he fights the army.
Okay, yeah, these are the points that you lead with.
Yes.
I like to make you earn it. You know
So,
what I mean?
so when you
Yeah.
get, so it's none of it's a surprise when you get to the end, and one of the guy's legs don't work, so he ends up on the shoulders of the other guy, and together,
the chicken fight of
What are
Yes.
they fighting for? Can I ask, or is that a
one
spoiler?
to save the village and one to save his village's lost daughter, who has been stolen from the village in a violent
Okay.
It's
attack.
it's
I can
historical
respect that.
fan fiction. It
Yeah.
takes place during the British imperialism.
Oh,
and
yes, it's
one,
a period
one is
piece.
one is basically,
Okay.
but it's like a Quentin Tarantino. They
Reimagining of.
Well, that would also make sense. It's 3 hours long.
Yes.
You know,
yeah, it's very
yeah.
much. This is the Tollywood, forgive me,
Yeah.
version of Tarantino.
And if,
Okay.
And if you need to know anything about Tollywood, it's Bollywood but bigger. It took what Bollywood did and was like a little less dancing, a little more crazy action epic.
yeah.
If any of you guys see video clips of like the guy who has like a bunch of guns and he turns into like those are Tollywood.
it.
That
Okay.
crazy over the top.
I know the
is
style you
Tollywood.
represent.
Yeah.
Bollywood
Yeah.
is typically more traditional. Tollywood is more let's kind of crank this
Bollywood's
up a
all
bit.
the costumes and the
Yeah,
dance
it's
sequences.
they take more notes from American kind of.
That's what I
flavor
understand.
palettes.
It's like Bollywood is
Yeah.
more like they kind of like one of the first Bollywood movies I ever saw was like a Pride and Prejudice kind of spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a
Do they
musical.
have the dancing and stuff too? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still like Pride and Prejudice, like with Keira Knightley, it's not a musical, but like in Bollywood, they like made it like a musical. It's like the
I wonder
same
if you
Yeah.
wait long
plotline.
enough, they're just subgenres
It's-
of subgenres of subgenres. Like we've been in film long enough. It's taken enough time that now there's subgenres of Tollywood.
And they'll still make samurai movies.
Yep.
But
Which those are rad. Like if when they're done
wait,
well,
what? Like
it's very
Bollywood will
impressive.
make samurai movies?
No, everybody
just
will
everybody.
continue to make
Yeah.
samurai
Oh.
movies.
Because they're great things.
Well, yeah, they're there.
Everybody
OG
loves.
swordsmith.
What else would you give anybody else any? I feel like this is
So-
the two or three people that I've been very selective with who I have sent this to. The handful of friends that I have forwarded to, one of which was my brother and his wife, and I send it to them and I go, just trust me, and they did. and they've since got whatever you recommend is for here on. It's
yeah.
my other friend Rick. I sent it to him, and he goes, "This is the single greatest gift anyone has ever given me." And those are the things that just make you go, okay, I'm not wrong in my assessment. It's fucking good.
Did we gloss over? You mentioned, I don't know if we've spelled it out clearly to where the guy couldn't use his legs, so he's on his shoulder, and it's a fight with the Goro type.
Oh, yes,
arm
yes.
thing, just beating the shit out of
Yes,
everyone.
there was a legend. Was the Crippled Masters was the old kung fu movie that there was a guy that had no legs and a guy who had no arms, and they sort of came together like a weird Voltron. But this is like these two guys. It's such a ride because they become, against all odds, best friends in the very beginning, and then you find out that their missions are in fact in opposition to one another.
Yeah,
and
they
then
find out one's the enemy and one's
now
not.
they got to fight, and you have this
They
whole
bonded
middle
over
section.
saving a kid because they're both heroes.
And then they
Right.
come back together to they just
I'm
bring it
convinced.
home.
It feels very Tango and Cash.
It's dude, it's like it's like all of the best of all of that, but then done
I'm
better.
gonna watch it, but it's 3 hours. I'm telling you,
How
I'm
is
gonna
that
smoke a
bromance,
little
by the
bit
way? It's
and-
pretty good bromance.
That's
too.
dude.
Yeah.
It's the there's
We'll watch it and then just like live podcast it.
It'll
There's a
just tell me-
montage
take
that I
me a
was
month
so
to watch
convinced
it.
was I was gonna turn into gay porn. I couldn't even. I was so
kinda
convinced. I was like, at what point does this not? They're banging, right? And then he introduces this dude to a girl, and you're like, well, okay,
They're
I
just
didn't see
best
that coming.
friends. It's
Yes.
different.
You
But
slump
they-
back on the couch.
But
relax.
best friend, yes, 100%. I sat back down. I was like, "You don't fuck this." They frolic, and frolic is a very specific verb.
Slade was on the edge of his seat.
That's
Every shot.
Me and Hurtado got to have a conversation.
there's a
I mean,
no.
if we can do it while watching this movie,
Frolic is just a very specific and they frolic. It's a clear frolic.
people
And
should frolic more.
They should.
Not to
They-
be, not
So
to be
there
a dandy
is there
fox.
is a whole like
Frolicking is
section of
underrated.
TikTok that is dedicated to teaching men how to frolic. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
No, not on
It's-
that side.
Wow, how did I not get
Hilarious.
to that? How did I not get to that part of the
I
internet?
do not
I don't know
understand.
how I missed
it's the
frolic
best
talk.
thing I've ever seen.
I'm really disappointed
No,
the fact that I was
seriously,
about to
it's so
start a
good.
grown man frolic
On my
class.
frolic
They like put
subreddit
like
should have
grown
picked that
like
up.
men in fields of flowers, and
Yeah.
they're like, you just be happy, and they're like, I don't know what that is.
Well, see, this is what's messed up. When you think you have an original idea, teaching grown men to frolic.
You should
and
absolutely
you find
do it.
out that's already been done. That's how you know the internet's done. You got to reboot
I don't
it.
know what kind of TikTok that could be like Switzerland, like TikTok. You know what I mean? Because
I
that's if I had to frolic, like that's
I go
probably where I would
I
frolic.
go many frolicable places.
Maybe like California during like the poppy blooming. It's like that could be
It
fun
may need to be
go like.
Slade Frolicker.
Slade runs. I just think of the.
It's like ham is fine. Thank
You can
you.
still record Slade Runner, but then they're just always
but it's only
also
frolic
be
videos.
Slade Frolic.
What if we like drink and do it? And we could be like Alcofrolics.
You could totally do it.
Okay.
Alcofrolics.
That sounds like the best way to skip through a field.
Absolutely. That is the only way you could
like it's-
convince. Like I have allergies. I will skip through a field.
Oh,
yeah,
hell of a bar name.
It'd be way easier.
Alcofrolics.
I was
We
drunk.
didn't touch base on the whole allergic to grass thing. Like I saw that M.
Oh,
Night
yeah.
Shyamalan movie and fucking yeah.
Oh yeah, Plants
like,
with the Devil.
That shit's fucking tough.
Jerry, let's open up Alcofrolics.
Yeah. I'm surprised it's not a comedy club already.
That's
pretty great name.
Alcofrolics.
Alcofrolics.
Okay, what's an episode title? We'll have it on paper first. I'm sure someone's done this.
you never
It's,
did.
you know what it is?
I don't think anybody's done
no,
that. To be
100%
honest.
chance this is a bad improv troupe. There is no way.
Well, if they're bad, then they don't deserve the credit. They don't deserve the name.
Their friend, one of their cooler, smarter friends who's smart enough to not do improv, named them. They were like, "You guys should call yourselves the Alcofrolics."
Alcofrolics.
They're like, "That's great." And now they play it like Barnaby's or something, whatever. I don't know.
If you've never been drunk and just kind of frolic through a field, I don't know what to tell
What are
you.
you doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I
what's
I don't know what
going
you're
on.
doing with your life.
I've done some drunk frolicking and some mushroom frolicking.
Mushroom
Frolic.
frolicking is on another level.
Mushroom frolicking is
mushroom
my
frolicking
favorite
is more
frolic.
meandering.
Yeah.
It-
It felt like
That's really
frolicking to
fun.
me.
Yeah.
Now, from the
It-
outside,
yeah.
it may have
Like,
looked
Your
ambly.
knees have to go high for a true frolic.
Is it- well, that's-
It has to
From the
kinda be-
outside, people
Well, like
would
when you're on
probably call
mushrooms,
it a
you just kind of like
pod.
go up and like you
I
run up to
meander
a
when
tree and like.
Yeah.
Is
I
there-
meander on shrooms. I'm like,
You don't.
know,
Is there?
I'm like,
Do you
Do you
have
do your
to?
hands like that?
sometimes
'Cause I kinda want to do shrooms with
I'm
you
deep
now.
because I'm deep in the bush. I'll get in there. I'll be like, let me see. what
That
you
would
got.
honestly
I like
be a
just
great
going out in
podcast if
pasture
we were all
and shrooms,
shroomed
and
Oh my
I'll go in the
God.
forest.
Find your way.
I'll
yeah.
look. I'll
I really
find out
like
its
being
secrets.
outside. I really
I
love
love
being
outside when I'm on
It's
mushrooms.
not
It's so
here.
fun.
This is wild what you guys have here
Yeah.
in
Well,
Texas.
my
yeah.
first time I went to San Marcos and tried to do the whole Bill Hicks, courageous
Uh-huh.
amount of mushrooms and everything, and that was tremendous. It was a fucking great night. Yeah. Camped on some private land. State troopers showed up.
Oh,
yeah.
What happened with
That's
that?
Like literally,
enjoyable.
we set up we set up these little pup tents, and we took all our shrooms. And my buddy had this El Camino. That's how we got out there, and we just found this space and thought we were cool. And all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, it's probably hours later, but these dudes rode up on horseback with guns. And they're like, "You're on private property, and
classic
state troopers
combo.
on the way. You going down, boy?" Like they were hot, and state troopers roll up, and my
Sounds
two
hot.
friends can't talk anymore. They're fucked up out of their gourd, but I'm freaking out over the comp, and he's just like, what do you guys want us to do here? Well, mostly we just want them off our land. He said, "Well, boys, there's a public camping site 2 miles down the road. If you want to get in your car, if anybody's okay to drive,
Oh shit.
we'll follow you.
Two of them aren't even
we'll
okay to
escort
talk.
you down to this public camping site." And at this point, I just grab the pup tents that aren't tended down, and I don't even try to figure out how to take them down. I just throw them in the back of the El Camino and direct one of my friends to climb in the pup tents to hold them down. And the other friend gets to the pasture side of the El Camino. I get in the El Camino and decide to drive a dragon down the highway because I'm gone, bud.
This is
2
the-
miles down
This is the part.
highway?
This is the
Hour
part in
and a
the
half
video
to-
game where I pause it. I'm like, I gotta finish this mission later. Like,
That's absolutely, bro. I hope this shit.
Literally.
I
We
hope
need
this
you to
shit
drive.
auto
Have you ever
saves.
done that? Have you ever taken mushrooms and then there's a moment where you're like, I need to pause this trip. I need to be a person, and then when you can press resume.
It was so terrible because I was driving behind them. I couldn't tell if they were going really slow or really fucking fast.
Yeah.
And I kept letting off the gas and letting off the gas. And
how
they,
is your
tunnel
you have the
vision,
squi-
dude?
Yeah.
I'm fucked,
Yeah,
man.
you're looking at life through
You're not
I'll
changing.
have the squigglies where my eyes are kind of doing this.
All I can pay
Yeah.
attention to is the light bar on top of their car. And and they pull into this place, but it feels like we were on the road for an hour or two,
my Sure.
And they
God.
pull into this place, and I pull in there, and they kind of turn their car around, and they go, "You guys can camp here. You'd be just fine." Like, you can tell they didn't want to
Hey,
fill out
maybe
any
go past 2 miles
paperwork.
per hour.
And they drove off, and then I just turned the car off and slept in the fucking car. My buddy slept in the pup tents in the back of the car. My other buddy, he wandered off for a while. We found him
Those
later.
cops owe you
Oh,
like
yeah.
$45.
That's fine. We don't need to.
I don't like when people wander off when you're tripping.
So that's why I don't
I
do
that, but I'm good at it. I'm good at navigating.
I won't do
I always return.
mushrooms with
Well, tell 'em I'll be
anybody.
back. I'm like, I'm gonna go do a meat thing real quick.
Yeah.
With anybody.
Yeah, he didn't. So he just I just heard the car door open at 4 a.m. and I was still pretty fucked up, and I saw a flashlight bouncing across the field, and I was like, "Well, I hope he's all right." And I went back to staring at the speedometer that wasn't doing anything like I was doing.
That is
And then
terrible.
he showed up the next day, and I was like, "Oh, glad he came back."
Jesus.
Yeah. Ultimately,
Driving on
it all worked
mushrooms.
out.
Yeah, you know
Cops.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Fucking drove home, fucking just fucking my face, the muscles around my eyes from going hurt.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everything around here hurt. Like I didn't know you could pull that muscle, but you can.
Oh, you totally can.
You stare at a
I haven't
speedometer
had a cop
long enough.
experience with mushrooms. Thankfully, yeah, just haven't ran into that equation. Yeah.
All the rest of the trip's been great. That was just the one kind of crazy one.
Got
It's just
it.
inside with the doors shut, man. That's I don't know.
Oh, you're an indoors guy.
And
I like to
solo,
be outside.
indoors and by. No, I like outside if I'm by myself. But what are the I gotta
Yeah.
be in a special. I gotta be camping by myself. Which
I could not do the beach again.
Oh, I like that. That's
So I think I could do. So I've never done the beach on mushrooms. I did it on acid.
You gotta do the beach at
Yeah.
night, not during
And
the day.
I feel like I could do the beach at night on
Stars.
shrooms.
It's about the stars.
Yeah.
But on acid, I was in ankle deep, and I thought the waves were coming up 10 feet over me, but then they would only go to my ankles. And I kept accusing my friend who was trip sitting of controlling the waves. I was like, "Let it drown me," and she was like, "What is wrong with you?"
I'd be like, what even is an ankle? Like, I'd have a whole,
Right?
I'd be a whole
you're
thing.
not.
One of
you're
my
not-
best
and it's-
trips walking up and down Galveston Beach one night. Just
again night.
yeah.
Yeah,
Nice. That's the
that's
key.
where
With stars.
yeah.
It's like you said, it's about the stars.
So
Even-
forest during the day because you want to see. And,
Totally,
but
totally.
if it's outdoors, beaches, you want
Even
that.
not
near
yeah.
a body of water.
even not
Yeah.
on
Every
drugs.
night
Yeah.
is
The beach
the-
at night is the most. It feels like there's a ceiling, like there's a dome of
amphitheater. Or
Yes,
something.
and
Yeah.
You
it's
feel a little more safer, yeah.
completely. So I wander. I'm a night swimmer though. I'm not. I'll wander out chest deep, the Gulf, whatever.
I love that '80s song. I'm a night swimmer.
Oh, look at the REM. The night swimming. So I like, and I can disconnect from the fear of this being like an
The
open
ocean.
body of water and all that. Now, on drugs, probably a totally different story. But just sober, man, I like that. I like that feeling of being in the water and
Totally.
not knowing and looking up at the stars. And it's very not scary to me.
No,
sat
I
in
love
the
to
mud in
swim
Lake
as well.
Trinity
Like,
one
it's
time
fun.
all
Yeah.
night.
Oh, you're
Just
probably covered in
like
leeches.
sitting on the side of Lake Trinity, just sitting in the mud.
On shrooms is kind of cool though. You're
Yeah,
like,
man.
it's
And I was
perfect.
just playing in the mud. I was just making mud pies for like hours.
To
man.
sober people, you look insane.
And yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
I
Well,
get it.
so what it
Yeah.
was, the people I was with were drinking.
Hiding from
The
predators.
people I was with were drinking, and I was the one doing the mushrooms. And I remember them being drunk and like falling down and like talking shit about me, sitting over there making mud pies. And I'm like, I'm having a great
You're
time.
like,
Yeah,
I'm literally
it's fun.
talking
Fuck
to
you
this
guys,
mud
and I'm not
going to
have a headache
now.
tomorrow. So, yeah.
Well, you got to talk about like the freedom that you have when you're at a point where you're just doing whatever's just fun and pure, kind of a thing. Is something that typically normal
We don't get
consciousness
there.
just weighs
You
down.
can't
You're
get
like,
there,
oh,
like,
Yeah.
I
without it.
shouldn't
Or we
do
feel
this.
guilty about it
Like,
if we
why?
do experience it on
Right.
accident.
Well, because like the first time I did mushrooms, like I noticed, like I felt like as high as I felt, like I was like laughing so hard, I was like crying, and I was like, I have felt this way sober before, but there's like so many things that like get in your way sober that like you don't allow yourself to like get to this point where you're just crying, laughing for no reason.
Well,
this tree is blowing in the wind funny. It's hilarious. I want to laugh at it, or like I want to connect with nature. Like I do think you can do those things sober, but there's like so
Well,
many
you got
like
waterfalls like
societal
dopamine
blocks.
and serotonin
we
happening
got
too,
both.
making
Exactly.
it way easier
Yeah.
to sort of walk around your own bullshit.
Oh,
Now,
totally.
I will tell you this. I used to have like a little poker group, and it was like me and like 4 of my best friends from growing up. And we used to call it Committee of Tree Fitty, and we'd meet every Friday night at my
Wait,
house.
say that
It's a
again?
great name.
Committee of Tree Fitty.
I like the what's the I like the pattern of
The
that.
alliteration.
Yeah.
Alliteration.
It was like that
Some
tree
alliterative-
fitty, you know, I knew about
rhythm.
tree fitty.
Yeah.
It was that kind of whole thing. So it was a committee of tree fitty, and we used
Keep
to hang
saying
out.
that.
And our rules were you had to wear like funky hats and shit, and
Yeah.
we would play poker and get drunk and everything.
Good times.
And then one night, my buddy Steve showed up to committee of tree fitty with a bag of mushrooms, and mushrooms are not conducive to poker.
Oh.
yeah.
Well, would you just
That
like, start
game goes
confessing?
nowhere quick.
Because I start confessing. So when I get really high, whether it's on weed or shrooms or whatever, I start telling people that I am because I start to feel like guilty if they don't know. Or like they're like, why is she like looking at me like that? I'd be like, no, I'm so high right now. That's
No,
why
we
I
just
could
didn't
never
even
play
have a
poker like
dealer
that.
At that point, nobody could shuffle.
You
I'd
were,
be like, I have all of these cards.
I confess in way Lamber ways. I'm like, hey man, can I say like you're a really good friend, and like we never talk about it. No one ever like says that. Like, you know what I mean? We just kind of just are friends.
Guess
But
no
like
one's
no
told
one
you lately.
like you know like yeah.
Jesus
Like,
Christ,
I'm just saying like
you guys are the
compared-
reason I do drugs alone.
I always have a great time by myself or with others. Looking forward to having a 2-acre property.
That's
yeah.
some outdoor life.
yeah.
I hope to see this property.
Yeah,
sometime.
man. I'm gonna get out there and make shit out of metal and have a good time.
What's what else do we need to get to, Jerry? We still got time. You sent this to me. I didn't know this. Do the numbers go up? Because we'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk. You want to do this, or you want to talk about this other thing? Because I am curious about this other thing too.
What's
This-
the other one?
The perfect.
Perfect.
world.
Let's do that one
Let's
because
go
I
there.
bet
Let's
Mark's
go there.
got a good answer for it.
All right.
Wait, what's
Let's,
the problem?
The perfect world.
Jerry and I pick from our topic of conversations off air frequently for what we're going to talk about on air. So
Somebody gets high and texts somebody else.
that's, Jerry does
That's
a
how
lot.
all podcasts
Jerry
should
does a
be.
lot of patio time.
And I'll be texting Slade all this crazy shit. Like, hey, what do you think about
I'm
this?
in a
for a prop?
receiving mood. I'll pause Fortnite to answer this. So
Fortnite?
I've been playing with my nieces recently.
Okay,
I got
okay.
I got a PS5.
Are you on
finally.
like the leaderboards or like?
So I don't know if there's leaderboards, but we do well.
It's a very intimidating question.
We're
I'm just because I play with my siblings.
That's
and,
like,
like,
oh, you're
are
a
you
comedian.
guys-
Are you on
if
Netflix?
we don't like
Yeah,
finish
it is.
in like the top 20 as a collective, they get real mad at me.
we win a lot. We
Yeah.
win.
Okay,
These
fuck
kids
yeah.
are good. I'm just dead weight. I'm just dragging
I'm
along
also
with
dead weight.
whatever.
I'm just trying to make
I
my
started
brother
playing
and
this
sister
game
happy.
called
Yeah.
Among Us recently with my
Oh,
kids.
yeah.
And
Among
that
Us,
is
it's so
much
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever played.
play on your
It's high
phone?
stress, but it's fun. I play it on my Xbox.
Yeah,
but,
fuck yeah,
But
it's
it's
so fun.
cross-platform. So like my kid plays on their laptop, and
So
Rachel
fun.
plays on their
Phone.
Switch, and I play on the
You can also like set up private servers, so it can
Yeah.
like only be like you guys and the.
Yeah, but the public games are so much fun. People
they're
just,
so rad.
it's
They're
so fucking, it's weird. It's like the Stanford social experiments.
Oh, the Milgram experiment.
To watch how people
yeah.
will turn on each other and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, it's
like-
really
The
fun.
Stanford prison. Yeah. that
Yeah,
one.
I was at a game right before I came here where like they killed everybody except the actual imposter. Like we got down to the last dude. Like,
Bro, these
Yeah.
kids online are terrorists. They I fucking
are.
one of them was beat. So I just will go on and jump into like random rooms if I'm not playing on my knee. So one of them was just like this brawl for all, like just ongoing slaughter fest.
For
And-
Fortnite?
Yeah,
Alright.
and I quit when our team had like 200 kills and nothing had happened yet. We were just it was still happening.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that this one kid, I don't know how many kills he had. I have no idea. But I could hear him through my headphones, and he was talking so much shit. He would see me before he saw me. Before I even knew he would, I just spawned. He's like, "Oh, here comes this motherfucker about to turn that corner," and I would stop, and he'd still shoot me. It was like terrorism. He must have shot 120 of us before we finally got him out of this one little perch. Is the most fuck those games.
They're so
I'm-
strategic.
Oh.
Like I don't play video games like that. Like I like to win.
I don't like
to
little
have
white
fun,
kids
but-
calling me the N word.
Yes.
I get tired of these games.
I'll
very
shit down your
quickly.
neck, motherfucker. Are you 12? What are you?
That is also insane.
Yeah,
And then like some of like their
it happens
usernames
often.
too. You're like, I can't even say this out loud. This is
incredible.
so
That feels
beyond
cancelable.
derogatory.
It ruins you, Jerry. So the question is, how? And I don't even know that I have an answer for this yet. I'll
question is-
go last.
Is if you wake up tomorrow in your perfect world, what does that look like?
Oh man, we're
Yeah.
mud pies on mushrooms.
Yeah.
I know. How do we
would-
top?
That's my answer. So that's-
Pretty good answer.
How do we top that?
Like it's inherently not a funny answer,
Right.
right? Like
No.
it's just like,
I don't
oh,
think
do I
it
have to
has to
give it
be.
thought, kind of a thing. Or you can be like hacking and be like, well, blowjobs every morning
yeah,
or
yeah.
some shit
No,
like
but
that.
like
yeah.
when I read that too, I
That
was
would get
like,
old,
there's
I
not a
think.
funny.
Yeah.
Abby's
answer
like,
to
that's my
this."
answer.
Yeah, well, I feel like our
Right.
answers, like when I saw the question, I was like, I know I'm going to come here and our answers are going to be relatively similar. You know, like access to like food, education, healthcare.
No, I don't give a
housing.
shit about any of that. That's
Oh,
all.
well, I
Yeah.
do. So fuck you.
And
But,
then-
It's
like,
not even in my serious
And then
answer.
even if I wax philosophical, which I will, like I could see like the eye rolls, kind of like, oh, you think you got it all figured out, or some, and then, but I'd like a world where there is a complete institutionalizing of what education is, and I think part of it should actually be teaching people like character quality and ways to navigate actual like adult life as
Critical
part of the
thinking
curriculum.
skills.
Classes that you actually have to pass, get a grade in, which is just like financial management, also just social etiquette, like a class you
Yes.
have to pass. Like, hey, if you're trying to convey this thing, maybe don't kind of say it like a fucking dick or something like that. Or hey, by the way, doing this just kind of sucks. Like just acting
well, also
this
like
way.
so
yeah.
many it's still doing like there's still research being done on like the autism spectrum, and like that purely factors into how people are socially. Like the lowest on the autism spectrum is technically like ADHD, and then up into like full blown autism. But like it is a spectrum, and it does
Right.
affect you socially. And I do believe that like neurodivergencies should be taught to everybody.
You're only taught
Well,
it like outside of you can
most-
like learn
most-
about it, but it's not like
Exactly.
Most
well, like,
down to-
neurodivergents don't even accept the spectrum.
They
or
don't even
autism anymore.
understand.
They don't accept those as terminology because a lot of it was come up by with a really hateful person.
right.
It's just it's the most interesting thing. I don't think there's anybody who's not neurodivergent, to be
I
honest
agree.
with you.
Right.
The term neurotypical exists, but when you start learning about the way our brains work, we all have these little idiosyncrasies that we react and feel and apply ourselves in different ways. I think everybody is somewhere. That's why
Right.
when they're like, "Oh, it's a spectrum," and there's functional and
It's like a sphere.
Like, no,
It
you
is.
can't.
It's all
more.
encompassing.
Well,
Yeah.
it's true that there's a whole cult of people, and it's a majority that's afraid to even like embrace that idea. They just want to be normal, and they're like, "Oh, I'm
But,
fine."
like, what is
But,
normal?
but what is
Weird,
that?
like-
What is normal?
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as you think about it more than 4 minutes, the whole kind of like
Yeah.
curtain
Well,
House
it's
of
just kind of
Cards.
like I don't
Yeah.
know anybody like in terms of like mental illness in particular. versus like things like bipolar or borderline or like schizophrenia, things that are like genetic, that are maybe not brought on by like specific traumas, but like depression and anxiety. Who among us does not experience those things ever in their lifetime?
Well,
that was all the memes during the pandemic when everybody was
Exactly.
like, "Oh, I'm depressed." Like, "Oh, well, fucking what? Good for you, dick."
Yeah, like finally.
Glad you finally got knocked down off your high horse. Dick.
Seriously.
You got here. Let me
It's
show you
like-
to the cafeteria.
My mother was diagnosed as they called it manic depressive back in the 80s, and then
It's,
that became bipolar, and then now they say bipolar and depression are different. Whatever would happen to my mom happens to me, and it happens to my sister, and I've learned to recognize it over the years. Mine always comes when I'm happy and I'm doing my best.
Yep.
It never comes when I'm sad. When I'm sad or I'm under the wire or I'm financially strained, I'm on fucking point, son.
Yeah.
Because I know how to fight. But when everything's going good, that's when everything falls apart for me.
Well, that is a dynamic of bipolar
But that's the way
depression.
my mom was. When things were going well, then everything went to hell.
Yep.
my creativity correlates to that. Like if I'm in a bad place, I'm not like my output. I could tell. But if I'm in a good place, I'm just dropping ideas.
Yeah.
Like I can tell. It's like a new sign that I found. I'll just have random consistent ideas where if I'm like just weirdly just in a funk about things, all of a sudden like I'm not seeing a lot of output coming from me, or like
Yeah.
creative processes are just like weird.
That
Yeah.
really, much the same way, man. I'll be dropping videos, making content, doing all kinds of stuff, writing, and it doesn't take anything to trigger it. It'll actually all be going really well, and I'll wake up one day and like, well, I can't do this other idea I want to do because it's not going to be as good as this idea I did yesterday, and then it fucking stays and it builds from there. And I'm old enough now, I'm about to be 45. I can see shit coming now,
Right.
and do stuff, go ride a bike, and extra endorphins and shit.
Sure.
Usually
It does
the
like
best.
take.
I
Like,
know I don't look like a person who
learning,
knows
though.
what endorphins are, but
Or bicycles, Jerry.
yeah, but I'm an avid bicycle rider.
You are both.
I'm what you call fat active. It's
You
a
are
weird thing. I love
factive.
food.
But
and
like,
I'm
but
factive.
it's true. Like it takes time to kind of like learn these, like, I don't even want to say like triggers, because sometimes it doesn't even correlate, especially when it's not even maybe really your fault. It's just kind of genetic, and it's just
Yeah, it's just some shit that
just
happens.
kind of just shows up from
But I
time to
watched my
time,
mom
and
fight
like,
it her whole life, and so you get to learn from watching somebody else deal with it.
Yeah.
or somebody go through it untreated, which was really huge for me as well. Like my grandmother, she has, like manic depression, and she chose to never get treated for it. And then like I have bipolar, and it's kind of like, oh, I see how you've lived for 70 years. And, like I'm 22. I notice these things now. How do we
You just try
manage and combat and
try and stay in front of it. Like it's you.
Yeah.
You ultimately will figure out your recipe for what kind of puts you in that state or doesn't. And you kind of
Totally.
figure out your recipe for how you get out of it and how
That's
you don't. And
Yes.
You learn your work.
You
that
do,
you
and
can
you-
do when you see it coming.
you try to
I've
stay-
gotten really good at the work.
because you can kind of feel
Well,
it.
you hope
know?
you do. Because
Yeah.
we know all sorts of people are kind of like
There's a lot of people that
lost,
don't.
That ship kind of sunk.
Yeah.
But there's
100%.
also so much
Yeah. So
stigma
it's
My-
too
good if
that
you-
surrounds
my
it.
mother never learned to work. She never
Yeah.
learned how to get out of it.
It's
She
so
would succumb to it.
the solutions are kind of outside the box. The ways to kind of deal with it. We all have a very particular, like, beautiful outlet. For it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
Like
that's
that,
the
yeah.
other thing too, is like in a perfect world, it would be understood that like there's no stigma. It is purely individual. We could all be diagnosed with the same
Yeah.
mental illness, but like the way that you respond to it is different than the way that I respond to it, which is different than the way that Jerry would respond to it.
Well,
You know
I
what
can't
mean?
imagine for just like what we do is so, what you were just saying, so unique in that, like for me, even if I'm not putting stuff out, which I've had this weird stretch where just I haven't had output. I've had a backlog of ideas and experiences, and my notebooks have been like I'm burning through stuff. I'm not getting it out anywhere. If I can't imagine if I didn't have that, right? If I was
worked
just a
9 to
crazy
5.
person who worked a regular job and did the same shit every single day, but my brain, I have to think, would still be contemplating all this and trying to process and still wanting to solve all the stuff
What
I'm
does
working
that,
on.
What does that
Totally.
look like if you're a purchaser from Home Depot and
Right.
you get home at 7 in the evening and you got to feed your cat, water the plant?
What, bro? This
And-
is.
I don't know. And that's the other thing too,
How do
is
you
like
spend the rest of the night unfucking yourself?
That's what I wouldn't even know where to start with this. I have all day, every day to do it, and I call it my job, and I still don't feel like there's enough time to unravel the strings of blacklist type yarn I have strung across my head.
I
Totally.
can remember when I had the foundation repair company, there was a lot of days I came home and I just sat in the driveway in my truck. No music playing, just sat there. Just
tired.
Trying to figure out how to unfuck my head before I walked in the house with the kids and Ray.
Call that like calibrating.
Yeah.
Like trying to
Just
shut
getting
the day
recalibrating.
down.
You gotta hit that button 3 times in a row
Yeah.
with a camera to
But
cock
it
back.
literally,
Seriously.
like if you were watching from the outside, like this dude just pulled up in his driveway, put his truck in park, shut it off, and just sat there.
I see it in black and white. It's introduced to some like 90s
Oh.
music video. Yeah,
right before
yeah.
the Toby Keith song
Or
starts.
something, yeah.
Yeah, but no music. Just sit there.
Well, yeah, because sometimes your head's just like a thunderstorm of ideas, right? And sometimes you just
Yeah.
kind of gotta just like just get it to where it's like, okay, we're
It's
back.
just
Like,
Totally.
all the things of the day and all the questions you have about everything you're doing and why you're doing it, and just sit there for a minute and like, well, I can't go in there like this because there's little people in there that look up to me and they
Yeah.
need to look like I know what the fuck I'm doing.
yeah.
That throws another wrench in it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Anything else you would expect from a perfect world rather? I think the only thing I'd want is to make we should do more fundamental scientific education. Back to your education thing.
I think that's
early.
the starting point,
Like
right?
if-
Yeah, that's
if-
Build a
definitely a starting
society.
point.
If you could present, and I always talk about how like I have this amazing love and fascination with science, and I'm involved in some. I'm so adjacent to it now without the degree, but coming up in school, it was math and science were never presented to me in ways that made sense. It was never about the practical application. It was about these bullshit formulas with no rationale or reason.
Yep.
And I was disinterested long before I ever got to what it could do. So it's
Totally.
like if people just could teach science fucking better. Like what
Yeah,
we're
pay 'em-
actually
pay the teachers more.
Hey,
You
that
know,
was
Well,
great.
yeah, exactly.
teaching should be $100,000 a year.
It should be one of the highest paid jobs. It should be up there with doctors, lawyers, teachers.
that most people don't know the basic building blocks of how we work or what we're made of or how things interact or what the fundamentals of neuroscience and consciousness and physics and all these things that people just don't know.
And it takes a special type of individual, too, like a teacher, to adapt to 30 different brains.
And to also dismantle 30 different stories of everything else
Of
that's been
everything
shoved
and a
that
lot
in
of
their
they've
head.
and a
been-
lot of shitty brains. A lot
Yes.
of little
Well,
fucking
totally. Like, think about the
pieces of
things that,
shit,
like, you're
fucking
fed.
spoiled, like just not giving a shit brains. Yeah.
Right.
No, totally. Like, there's entitlement or there's religion. There's, like, all of these
This
things.
kid has his own
blocking.
SUV brain. And
But
this
it's
kid
really-
grew up
it's really-
Pentecostal
He has actual-
brain.
I gotta tell
bird
you,
brain.
it's really not profitable to try to control people with good education and critical thinking skills.
It's
Well,
Not in this world. We're talking about a perfect world.
yeah.
God damn it.
not
trying to control. Oh shit, Jerry, you got me.
We were daydreaming.
I'm assuming there's
now
a
we're back.
paycheck in a perfect world, and I'm just saying.
Can I?
you
Can
gotta
I?
leave some of them dumb. you
can-
need some dumb ones.
Yeah, you do, and you'll have plenty.
Natural selection will do
it's
that
a
for
buyer's
us.
market.
Hey, look, not every.
Yeah, for dumb idea. Yeah, you're good. You're good. It's buy now.
That's the episode title. It's a buyer's market.
That's perfect.
You're,
All right. Any other?
I was gonna
you got
wax y'all.
something.
I was
Do it.
gonna wax y'all about like how I think presidential scenario should be. I don't think it should be one president. I think it should be 5 elected by the people. It has to be an odd number. It can be 3, but like 5 to. I think they should be no matter what you do, you can be some sort of successful business or whatever. But if you're nominated, it's by people around you. Like you're nominated and like you're just chosen for like duty kind of a thing.
Like the Hunger Games.
I guess so. I haven't seen the Hunger Games.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Well,
they,
so
Yeah,
a little bit. So, like, the whole concept is like, well, in the Hunger Games, they get drawn from a lottery, but like,
If
But
you're
none
that
of them are going to be president.
no, well, the idea would be it's like you're chosen.
you're chosen because you serve your community.
You check off all the boxes.
Yes.
You're not just a politician.
And you're on a
like,
council.
You're both
Right.
you're both vetted by a lot of people. There's support. There's people who are like putting on the internet like stuff about you, like the facts about you. Oh, you're both really smart, but also there's evidence
Totally.
you doing
It's like the
community
Oscars.
stuff. You're reasonable. You have
gotta
like a
buy
scientist.
ads.
Well, like, and also too, like the
Yeah.
salaries for the people that like claim to work for us, these politicians, should also be reasonable.
And whoever is
Teachers should be
chosen
making
by
more.
the people, it should be like an honor and held as such. And whatever
Absolutely.
you're doing, the reason why most people don't do presidents or politics because like who the fuck would want to? If
Right.
you're like a good person, like I'm making more money doing this, I don't want to deal with all that bullshit.
Well, I mean, like,
people,
think about like all like the bullshit. Like, like little like side donors or whatever that donate to like our Supreme Court or senators or governors,
Oh,
all
all
that
that,
shit.
yeah.
Why would you ever want to be the president? You know what I mean?
So what do you give them, $1 million to be on the panel?
Well, so the idea would be whatever processes you have your hands in. Like, so obviously you're probably more invested in some job or something that you're doing that means more to you. But the idea is all that's taken care of, and like you're getting paid well, and all the benefits are insane, and you're chosen to be part of this like elite council that is like very celebrated, and it's like a group of 5 people, and they are just rotated out every like. Individually.
How long are you
You
on?
ought to give them a cool name like the proletariat. or something.
Right, something like that. Yeah.
What if it's-
I already forgot what did you call the thing? Or we like the
the tree
pitter-patter?
fitting. The
Yeah.
committee at tree fitting.
Exactly.
So what if you do 2-year term limits, but 2-year terms, but no term limits?
You mean like if they're just killing?
So
it?
you can be if you're
I
killing
feel like
it, you
that's how
stay.
you sleep.
No,
sneak
but-
That's
out, you
kind of
slide
that's
it.
kind of
back
how
in the
you
dirt.
slide.
But you
There's
have-
got to be rules.
So here's the thing. But you can
But a
go
group of people.
I
Really
feel like
smart
8
people
years
versus
is
one
fine.
person.
So even with like
Here's-
2-year
here's-
terms.
Here's my idea: is every 4 years the CIA or whoever goes out and finds out whoever the smartest motherfucker in America
They're already
is.
I don't
looking.
think smart is
And
enough,
it's like
though. It's more than just
like
smart.
they show
Yeah.
up at Neil deGrasse Tyson's house.
See,
Oh, not
and
him.
they
He
walk
has no
in there
sense
and
of
they
humor.
put a bullet to his head and they're like, "Hey, guess what? You're gonna be president next 4 years."
no, like
Yeah.
No, you don't get a choice, motherfucker.
That was-
You-
that was
you
kinda my-
do the
it's-
job or die.
Right.
kind of North Korea-y, where but it's like you're definitely cool. But I wouldn't lean in on just being smart. I don't think that's just enough.
No,
You
no,
know,
you
No,
probably
no,
need
no.
somebody
It's about,
with
like,
These would be
more
people
of
that
the-
definitely like serve their communities or like
just like a general amount of expertise in a very relative
Yeah.
areas of like business
And with a
management,
high happiness
economics, You know what
quotient.
I mean? Just intelligence, like a lot of great signs of character and stuff like
Well,
that.
I agree
yeah.
too because America already it's like so divided, like between like certain states or like even Texas always like threatens to secede. It's kind of like if we had multiple presidents,
Would be a
kind of like
group
representing us.
of
It's kind of
mixed
like
values,
you
yeah.
know, and
You're
we
the
could
president
vote for
to the
those
South.
people.
You go figure
Yeah.
them motherfuckers
So it's like who's
out.
going to represent like us and our needs the best, and then like they can, you know, we can vote our input as a country, and then like how can we benefit the place as a whole?
Sounds a
you
lot
know?
like how the mafia works.
That's what do we know?
So
So what
make
we really need to
podcasts.
do is go back to crime. Is what I'm saying.
So let's just hold the power button down for 30 seconds.
If you don't snitch, you're taken care of for life, and that's just how it's going to be.
If you want to get even crazier, it's like say a group of 3, and there's a stream. I don't know if you've seen Twitch streams of people. Everyone has access to these conversations for decision, and then the facts start piling in or the votes. So it's like I said this point, and blah 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 blah. You touch base 1 week after the debate or the discussion from the council, from the tree fitty or whatever.
Committee of tree fitting.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we weigh everything they said and what like the reality is. Like, you know what I mean? There could even be like a checking on the thing. Hey, these are some good points, but the facts of what he said don't quite
Right.
shake out. And the
Yeah.
facts of what he said, and then the decision is made behind doors
well,
based
I
off the
did
information.
my own research.
Well, the other thing too, is,
Right.
like,
Kinda
Thousand people
cut
showed up
out
and said
that
this
shit.
guy touches kids.
Right.
so he's
right,
out.
exactly.
So say a guy kind of knows a little bit of economics, he's somewhat well versed, but he waxes his stuff, and then you give it a week after the statement of the discussion the public gets to have access to and vote and discuss about and like in media and stuff, and then it gets back to all right, the facts of this come back to blank.
That would
Totally,
be a
because
weird-
that's
that would
something
be a
that's like
weird
taken
prompt.
away.
Yeah.
If the greatest leader in the world was a pedophile, would you still listen to him?
Well, I mean, we've already
fuck.
already been
Let's
there.
keep him away
Yeah,
from
like
kids.
that's already
Not about-
I don't even have a name in mind. I just assume
that's
that's
already the
happened.
reality. Like
Yeah.
that's already.
But like if you knew, like there was no question about it. Guys
But
like,
we
no, I
did,
really love
right?
naked
Well,
kids.
we certainly
But
certainly
goddamn,
wouldn't.
Yeah.
he's done a lot of
Then
good
no,
shit in North
yeah.
Korea.
God damn it! I think Steven Tyler is one of the greatest leaders. I'm totally kidding, but he's also definitely a pedophile. So
But it's
Wait,
one
the
of
guy
those.
from
It's one
Aerosmith?
of those. Do the lives of the
Oh,
billions
yeah.
outweigh this guy's fucking
right.
he
failures?
signed
as
over
a
like
human being?
legal guardianship of a 14-year-old girl. This is all like,
All right, we gotta get out of here before you ruin Aerosmith for me.
or I ruin Aerosmith.
That's what ruined Aerosmith.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, no,
It
everything
wasn't
after
toys
get
in the attic.
It wasn't Aerosmith.
it was everything after get a grip, but
I don't know.
Walk
I mean,
This Way is about leading
Armageddon, for
children.
fuck's sake.
yeah,
Wait.
I'll take
But-
Armageddon over the pedophilia. I'm like,
It
pedophilia
could be.
sucks, but that song slaps. So,
Hey,
you know,
hang on, dude. Looks all right. We're just gonna go. Mark Hurtado, our good friend, Abbey Vollman, running Tuesday nights at the secret group TNA with Tess. It is good to have you both on the show. Jerry Wayne Longmire, Easy to find on all things social at Jerry Wayne Longmire, but just look him up on TikTok. We're going to be in Louisville, Kentucky in August. I'm going to be in Fort Worth in September, always putting new dates on the books. Shouts out to Adam Taylor running things in back of house. We're going to sell that damn TV show soon, buddy. So many things going on in the Whiskey Brothers world. Stay tuned. 2 more episodes of the Whiskey Brothers in August, but also pay attention to our social feeds because there's probably more stuff from us coming up before that. We'll see you soon.
I believe in good whiskey, and I believe in good times. I believe in good music, loud guitars, cold